Comprehensive film and television heavy +sign system heavy +sign CP undetermined CP is uncertain. CP is uncertain. CP is uncertain. There may even be no CP. Liao Liao was granted a holographic game called Fantasy Life Simulator by a good friend. The original words of Jiyou are: "If you love to browse novels, movies, and TV dramas so much, you will definitely be able to show off your skills in this game." Liao Liao. Just being a scenic party, can't passersby. But by chance, the system was bound, opening up a journey in the small world. Chapter 1. Games. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Liao Liao has been playing the holographic game, Fantasy Life, for 3 days by his good friend only. In the words of a friend, this kind of game that allows for immersive experience, high degree of freedom, and does not occupy normal work and study time, can be logged in while sleeping, is simply the existence of a master of per capita time management. But I'm a game novice, Liao Liao felt helpless. This is not the first time my friend has encouraged her to play games. Even if you team up with friends, you still lose miserably, in various ways. I'm a bit of a jerk in previous competitive games, management games, even interactive games. I could still choose the most unsolvable options. I am simply a game black hole. You're not allowed to use this kind of CPU yourself. My friend looked resentful and said, "This time it's different. High degree of freedom is just one of its selling points. In fact, you can still choose its guidance mode." What? What's wrong with this guy? Amway worked so hard not to make me play games and scare me, right? Seeing that Liao Liao still had a skeptical expression on her face, her friend could only use her coquettish trick, "Oh, why don't you just play? Just treat it as a large-scale script killing. Play it." The friend took Liao Liao's hand and twisted himself into a fried dough twists. All right. Then I'll give it a try." Liao Liao couldn't resist his friend's coquettishness. "Is it okay to wear a dedicated necklace and connect to the server?" "Bingo. I'll give it a try tonight, and we'll get in touch online then. Lie down, connect to the server, close your eyes." Liao Liao waited for himself to fall asleep. Consciousness seemed to fall into a darkness, and Liao Liao felt his consciousness come into a void of space. She didn't panic at all because she had never seen anyone else's login interface. Ring in equal to, there are no prompts or options, can't it be stuck? Just as Liao Liao was waiting and lamenting her luck, a flickering white light fell on her shoulder. "Hello, Liao Liao, I am System 233. System." Liao Liao's fingers were randomly tapping around. "Is it a system for logging into the game interface? How can I get in?" Liao Liao was still thinking of contacting his friends. The synthesized electronic sound of "login" revealed a hint of panic. System 233 was successfully shipped out of the factory under strict training from the previous generation system, making it the first selected host. 233, you have passed the review. Remember, we are professionals. The system remembered the professional quotes from its predecessors and could only grit its teeth to continue introducing them. "Yes, host Liao Liao, hello. I am System 233. Due to everyone's high enthusiasm for various movies and TV shows, parallel small worlds have formed. If there are too many small worlds, it will affect the development of the main world. Please work with System 233 to regain the audience's memory and maintain world peace." 233, you speak very well. You are very professional. 233 gives yourself encouragement. The senior system said that as long as you maintain professionalism and mystery, you can bind to the host. The opening introduction of the game, Fantasy Life, is quite impressive. Liao Liao was amused by the words maintaining world peace. "Okay 233, open the game guide. Is crossing the small world a game?" 233 is uncertain, the senior system has not taught it before. But judging from the host's expression of anticipation, "Don't be shy, yes, the host. The 233 system will do its best to assist the host in completing the recovery of their memory. Open the skill tree for the host and provide assistance items. Is it bound to the 233 system? Yes, Liao Liao thought it was a new account identity binding. The system confirmed that there was a guidance mode, which gave Liao Liao great confidence. She felt that she could do it again. 233, are you just sleeping on a dungeon? Liao Liao was curious about 233. Previously, 233's words seemed like a pre-recorded game opening for each player. Liao Liao plans to ask some other questions. What are the methods and requirements for recycling mental energy? If the host needs it, we can adjust the time flow rate. 233 never expected that binding the host would be so smooth. I heard from the senior system that binding the host would encounter many problems, or I thought the system was some kind of monster. Liao Liao's host is so refreshing. 233 is indeed a lucky one. As long as the host changes the original development pattern of the small world, 233 will automatically capture the memory. Please rest assured, host. Do you have a beginner gift package? Every game has a beginner gift package. Liao Liao is looking forward to the difference in the gift package for holographic games. The big gift package. Here it is. The host agreed so happily, hoping to negotiate with the system. The senior system mentioned it before. The host can rest assured that different planes will drop the applicable big gift package according to the situation. Every new plane has it. And this good thing. Liao Liao talked to 233 and both sides received satisfactory responses. As an auxiliary system, the host can have a conversation with 233 anytime, anywhere, as long as they silently recite in their hearts. No problem. Liao Liao raised his expectations for the game between a question and an answer with 233. He didn't know if he could be in the same dungeon with his friends. Looking forward to it. We're about to start, host, please prepare. Liao Liao's consciousness slowly sank with the sound of the system. What position is the emperor preparing to give to Zhen? Liao Liao looked at the woman in front of him. The game is very realistic and close to the face. It is the appearance of the queen in the TV drama, Empresses in the Palace, that Liao Liao has watched. Who is she talking to? Your Majesty. Yi Xiu thought that the emperor in front of him was still pondering. 233, 233. How did I become a man? How did I become a chubby orange? Chapter 2. Ranking. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Liao Liao held on to the emperor's face and remained silent. But the inner world can be shrouded in barrage. 233, what's going on? Is there no plot buffer? And why did I become emperor? Liao Liao let out a sharp explosion in his heart. Host Liao Liao, if there are no special requirements, the system will randomly match the character with the highest degree of freedom. 233 is full of confidence in their host. Absurd. A thick voice reached Liao Liao's own ears, and the Buddhist bead bracelet in his hand was also thrown to the ground. 233 says that once selected, it cannot be changed. Liao Liao could only console himself. It's just a game, everyone has come. Originally, my dungeon mission was to become an emperor starting today, Liao Liao thought to himself. When Liao Liao regained his senses, the empress was already confessing. The small shop next to him quickly picked up the Buddha beads and handed them to Su Peixiang. Host, come on. Just threw the bracelet and it was very imposing. Look at how the host scared everyone else. 233 seemed to see himself gaining a lot of mental energy and showing off to his seniors. Hee. What is this doing? Get up quickly. Liao Liao's plot of the Empress Dowager Zhenhuan has become blurred, and at least he can still recognize the Empress and the eunuch Su Peixiang who serves him. Where did we go just now? Say more and make more mistakes, let the queen speak first. Yi Xiaoban was thinking about today's draft, and encountering Emperor Zhen, who bears some resemblance to his sister, would surely bring great joy to his appearance. But I didn't want to provoke the emperor just by mentioning the position. Just now the emperor showed her warmth again. After all, being a married couple for many years, Yi Xiao has some understanding of the emperor's unpredictable personality. Then he spoke again and said, there are already 2 noblemen in the Manchu and Mongolian flags, and 1 nobleman in the Han flag, Shen. I don't know if this Shen family. Zhen is the female lead, and this instance revolves around her. Since the system says it wants to change the development of the plot, according to your opinion, what position should this Shen be given? Yi Xiao was confident that the emperor wanted to elevate Zhen Huan's position, so he aimed at her face. My concubine knows that the emperor values the Han military flag, but if there are 2 nobles in the Han military flag, would it be too conspicuous? Liao Liao's concept of rank is still too vague, and he doesn't pay attention to the empress. The 6th rank is always present, what do you think, emperor? It's all up to you. Liao Liao just wanted to send the empress away. The emperor's mirror, the host is amazing. I knew you could do it. 233 wished he could raise his arms and shout. This kind of thing can't happen again. Liao Liao asked Su Peixing to escort him back to the heart-nourishing hall, and also allowed him not to stay up late today. Sleep on the dragon bed and then relax. 233, don't try to fool around. Where's my beginner gift pack, my beginner guide? And even if I become a man, my figure is too solid. Without any accidents, Liao Liao is a facial controller. Watching a drama can ignore one's face and only focus on acting skills, but it's one's turn to feel like nothing is going well. Famous double label. Host, I will now transmit the plot of Zhen Huan to you. Then I won't have the same temperament as the previous emperor, sooner or later OOC. No host, I have stacked many layers of filters on you, and no one will think you have a problem. So, if I come earlier and kick the female lead in the draft, the task will be completed. In theory, it is possible. However, the small world has its own development laws, and it will constantly revise to bring everything back to its original track or let the female lead encounter something unexpected. Liao Liao made a motion of wiping his neck. The small world immediately collapses. The electronic sound of 233 appears garbled and tense. The host's idea is too scary. If we achieve 233, why not just scrap it and return it to the garbage dump? Got it, got it. Can't we erase important NPC in the dungeon? So, how to be an emperor? The materials transmitted from 233 are all from the perspective of the script harem. The emperor is either criticizing officials or holding talks with ministers, or he is summoning people to serve in bed. Bedroom attendant. I can't really do it, me, Liao Liao said incoherently. Host, don't worry, there are solutions to all the problems you are worried about, immersive integration into characters, and you can also obtain corresponding abilities for the characters. Is this the big gift package? Can't I just exchange it directly? What kind of personal space are all in novels? You can master various skills by exchanging them. There are also various props. Of course there is. 233 is not willing to be outdone. We all have system stores, but the host doesn't have points to redeem. A transparent electronic screen appeared in front of Liao Liao, with a dazzling array of items, skills, talents, and bloodlines that could be exchanged. But Liao Liao's integral. A striking zero host, if Krypton doesn't save the liver, it can change one's life. 233 pleased way of practice more, you can master the skills, let alone with my 233 blessing, they are all simple modes. Let's take a step and see. Liao Liao felt helpless. They are all emperors now, so there shouldn't be any problem, Your Majesty, it's already in time. It's time to get up. It's Su Peixing's voice. Liao Liao's sleepy eyes were washed by Su Peisheng's service. It's too realistic to wake up at 4 a.m., 233. I'm so tired. Add an energetic buff to the host. I gave Liao Liao a big laugh. I went to bed at 1 a.m. yesterday and got up at 4 a.m. today. Who am I simulating, Yongzheng? You don't need to be so serious about film and television dramas, do you? Liao Liao tried to negotiate with the system. Host Liao Liao, let's go through a process first. In the future, the host will get used to it, 233 thought happily. By the way, host, your folding from last night hasn't been approved yet. Chapter 3. Preparation. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The beauty of the Han military flag has not yet entered the palace. Last night was heart-wrenching and hurried. After a night's rest, Liao Liao adapted to this body in its 40s to some extent. In the early days, Liao Liao's words were also very realistic. There are too many officials reporting. Fortunately, in the early stages of the Zhenhuan universe, there were no major events except for Niangingyao and the National Treasury. Host, let's go to the Queen's place. They also have a morning meeting. What kind of fun are you just joining in? Liao Liao doesn't want to go. She's not chubby orange, she doesn't like the feeling of being surrounded by a bunch of women. Besides, these women are all the pillows of the emperor. Now let Liao Liao face these people, she still feels a little uneasy. Can my body be slimmer compared to this one? Or can you be more patient with it? It doesn't make sense that old 17 looks like a human, I just look like a chubby orange. Of course it can be exchanged for makeup pills. 233 thoughtful answer. But I need to score, I don't have any points. After going to the morning court, Liao Liao returned to the heart-nourishing hall. He only used some breakfast casually. Just focus on chatting with 233. Now we are imitating the original owner's handwriting to correct the memorial. The body has muscular memory, and Liao Liao's calligraphy experience progress bar soars. Fortunately, in the dungeon, most of the submissions were for greeting. Host, you have points. 233 board refreshing the system all, the first time I saw the updated points. Yesterday's point count was still 0. Today it has become 50 points. What did I do? It was the host who reconciled the title of the female lead. Indeed, yesterday Liao Liao was all focused on sending away the Empress and did not pay attention to giving the female lead a title. At the end of the day, the female lead is only special to Big Fat Orange. And that white moonlight pure yuan is special to Big Fat Orange. Having a title can also be considered as a way of valuing the female lead. Just like now, the female lead is just an ordinary presence. Although there are points available, it is still not enough to look at the towering 300-point pill, give me my beautiful face, in the product column. 233, let me study the plot again. I will definitely earn more points. At least it can't be like having a bloated and greasy appearance. The female protagonist has not yet entered the palace, and Liao Liao doesn't care about other women in the harem, but this point cannot only be collected on the female protagonist's head. We need to find a way. Ikuan Palace, Songji, do you know where the emperor is staying tonight? A few days ago, the emperor flipped through the sign of Xinchangzai. Empress Hua took advantage of the 6 palaces to have the eunuch in the imperial household department hang up the green plaque of Xian Chang's residence. According to Xiaoxiatzi, the emperor is still in the hall of mental cultivation. Have you not gone to see Xinchang here, a lowly servant? Never. There were too many outstanding women in this election, and now the emperor's mind is becoming increasingly elusive. Songji, let the small kitchen prepare a dong-yi as hide glue longan soup and send it to the emperor. Was it sent by Ikuan Palace? Looking at the black bowl brought by Su Peisheng. Your Majesty, this is why Empress Hua is thinking of you. Got it, let's put it down. Liao Liao is testing the skills of Yongzheng. Although De Pengzhu's character design differs from history, His skills in the 6 arts of the gentleman have far surpassed those of ordinary people. Liao Liao, who has loaded the easy mode, can directly reach the level of integration as long as the practice progress bar is full. Roll up quickly before the female protagonist reaches the battlefield. 233. Take a look at the preface of my Lantern collection and see if it has the spirit of a book saint. Host, are you really good not to go out like this? You help me monitor the entire harem, every move they make is under my watchful eye. What's wrong with me? 233 is more useful than sticking to the rod. The xia jian in that information is not as good as a eunuch next to the female protagonist, it's too unsettling. Besides, I really can't sleep either. The female lead doesn't come, she has no clue about brushing points, and doesn't even want to go out. Liao Liao became anxious about his appearance. Chapter 4. Ideas. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The emperor did not enter the harem for 2 consecutive days. Not only were the concubines in the harem worried, but even the Empress Dowager ordered Zhu Shi to invite the emperor to visit Shokang Palace in the morning and evening. Both inside and outside the story are about the emperor's lack of offspring. The reason for holding a talent show is to let you choose the person you like, and to be fortunate to your concubines. Although the newcomers haven't arrived yet, you can't forget the old ones. Liao Liao. Good, right. The relationship between the emperor and the Empress Dowager has always been superficial, and Liao Liao just perfunctorily passed it by. Before leaving, he asked Zhu Shi. It turned out that Consort Hua had come. Today, the Zayunu entered the palace, and Consort Hua was already busy. How to give people a small report. Su Peixing. Yesterday when I thought of Xia Jian, I couldn't help but think of Xiao Yunzi who killed Xia Jian. I heard that Xiao Yunzi still has some skills on him, which can be considered a great help for Zhenhuan's side. But where should we arrange it? The servant is here, find 2 servants for me. By the way, let the queen know and go to her place for lunch. On the 3rd day of becoming the emperor, Liao Liao not only had an anxious appearance and a lot of work, but also inexplicably entered a state of being a tool to maintain harmony in the harem. The empress has delegated power to allow Consort Hua to organize a talent show, so why not go and see the empress? How come the emperor has time to come over today? Actually, Yi Xiu is quite surprising. The family is powerful, and Consort Hua has always been arrogant. Given my age, although I have the position of empress and the protection of the Empress Dowager, as an empress, I cannot receive the love of my husband. What is the use of only receiving respect? Fortunately, Liao Liao didn't know what the empress was thinking and his attention was focused on the lunch. The dishes in the Empress Palace are quite good, but the rules are very strict. The empress is also a person who values rules and values eating only 3 times. No wonder Fat Orange doesn't like to come. But now everything Liao Liao sees is fresh, and he also relaxes around this old acquaintance, who has only seen him once. Consort Hua has many things to attend to, so I can only come to you to hide and relax. Consort Hua was too aggressive and invited a few times, so I guess I won't be able to escape that kind of situation once I go. This made Liao Liao feel like he had to go to bed, so he procrastinated whenever he could. How is your body? Liao Liao had nothing to say. Thanks to the emperor's memory, there is nothing wrong with my concubine. Yi Xiu peeled the honey orange and fed it to Liao Liao's mouth. Host. 233 was busy supervising the harem, and when he turned around, he saw Liao Liao receiving the queen's feeding. Host, Xiao Yunzi and his brother have been transferred from the allocation team by Duke Su. Upon hearing the report from 233, Liao Liao realized that there was another wave of points waving at her. In the morning, Empress Dowager asked me to come over and talk, meaning, don't forget the old people. Yi Xiu's hand snapped. What did the emperor think? Don't be jealous of Hua Fei again. Taking advantage of the newcomer's entry into the palace, it's better to elevate Xian Chang's position and let Jin Xian Chang serve as Xian Guiran. After all, if she gave birth to a princess and had a miscarriage before, we should understand her hard work. I will first thank the emperor on behalf of Xinchang. Jiyou is quite stingy, it's not surprising that he only has 5 children. The 2 were raised outside the palace, and Shu and the little princess never even showed their faces. You come. Liao Liao picked up the empress's hand and headed towards the place where she practiced calligraphy. It is advisable to learn calligraphy and even write it very well. Liao Liaogong just pulled the progress bar and lit up his calligraphy skills, hoping to give Yi Xiu a hand. Stinky display, a beautiful flower and a full moon make a long life. Yi Xiu read aloud as she watched, feeling deeply moved in her heart. Not bad, isn't it? Although there's no need to mention any font, Liao Liao particularly likes cursive script. Ask Jianxiu to frame it for you. Emperor. Yi Xiu quietly grasped Liao Liao's hand. Host, did you intentionally do it? Why did the host leave it here to play with the empress and add fragrance with red sleeves? Liao Liao felt that he had put in too much effort to become a chubby orange. At night, Liao Liao hid back in the heart-nourishing hall. The bottles and jars of Ikuan Palace have been replaced again. Host, won't you go see Consort Hua? She's going to Su Nian Gengyao. Sai, go on, what should come must come. Upon seeing the emperor, Song Ji hurriedly reported to Consort Hua inside, Madam, the emperor is here. Nian Shilan still wants to make a fuss, but is afraid that the emperor will really leave. Your Majesty, you haven't come to see my concubine these days. How could that be? Liao Liao never expected that Consort Hua was a plump and flamboyant beauty. There were many things in the previous dynasty, so I neglected you. Liao Liao felt a little nervous as he saw that Consort Hua had already changed her sleeping clothes. Here we go. It's that one. 233, save the child. Don't worry, host. You can choose either body care or Huangliang Yimei when the time comes. The palace eunuch had long received the gaze of Empress Hua and quietly retreated. Emperor, concubine Hua's voice curved a few times, listening even more alluring. Fingers hooked around Liao Liao's belt and fell into the bed together. Liao Liao's heart is filled with alarm bells. 233. 233, come and have a dream, you. Hua Fei is too enthusiastic. 233 applied the dream skill, leaving Empress Hua sleeping soundly alone. 233, the flaw in this dream is still too big. Next time, switch to a body care. This is Pengju's body, it's Pengju's. Liao Liao pondered on his life and said, what does a beautiful woman like about this chubby orange? Host, the points have been updated. Liao Liao knew that the points would be updated, but he didn't expect Xiao Yunzi to be so valuable. A small allowance is worth 200 points. Xiao Yunzi is the golden finger of the female lead, and you have made other changes, host. The system has refreshed several prompts, it seems that the idea is correct. The female lead is the top scorer, but changing her behavior towards others can also earn points. See if the points are enough to exchange pills. Enough. 233 quickly exchanged 4, give me back my beautiful face. A red and green pill appeared in Liao Liao's hand. Will eating it lead to a great transformation into a living person? This doesn't treat big fat orange as a mischief to eliminate. It will gradually adjust to the peak of its relative age appearance, it won't be worse than now, Liao Liao sighed. Swallowed this strange meatball in one gulp. Big fat orange explodes and changes to middle-aged Xiao Hongfei. Chapter 5. Bedroom Attendants. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Liao Liao couldn't sleep soundly. Last night, Empress Hua once again entered Liao Liao's arms with a spring-like expression on her face. Liao Liao. I dare not move around. Your Majesty, you are awake. Consort Hua reached out and wrapped her hand around Liao Liao's waist. I woke up early, afraid of disturbing you, and I dare not move around. The great beauty has privileges. Empress Hua enjoyed this trick very much. Don't make a fuss, today the newly appointed palace concubine pays her respects to the Empress. You have to go too, don't be late. Speaking of the Queen early in the morning, Consort Hua must be unhappy. Is the Emperor still afraid that my concubine will embarrass the Empress? I'm afraid you won't have time to do your makeup. Liao Liao smiled and scraped off Consort Hua's nose. Your Majesty, Fat Orange rarely plays with concubine Hua this morning. Your Majesty is in a good mood today and looks young. Is it so obvious? Liao Liao smiled and touched his face. 233, didn't you say it wouldn't make a big living person? Definitely not, this is a subtle change. It's because Empress Hua observed too carefully. Keep your temper down. The longan soup I prepared earlier was very good. Please send me another bowl to nourish my heart. Although Liao Liao doesn't like to eat this thing. But this statement is very useful for Consort Hua. Liao Liao still remembers today's palace meeting, where Consort Hua disabled Xia Dongchun. Xia Dongchun is such a person that Liao Liao doesn't like either. But give it a try, if it works, you can earn points. Yesterday, a pill of medicine cleared Liao Liao's points to 0. After returning to the heart-nourishing hall, there is another pile of things to attend to. TSK, host, what's wrong with you? I have something very important to ask you. Liao Liao looked serious. Host, please speak. Old 13, Prince E. In the legend of Zhen Huan, the person who gets along best with Pang Ju is actually Lao 17. He even shares the same bed with his concubines. But there was no sign of the Iron Hat Prince. Host, wait a moment. 233 expanded the monitoring range and found that Yin Xiang was recuperating in the mansion. It is said to be for recuperation, but in fact, the figure of Prince Yi cannot be seen in the Zhen Huan universe. Liao Liao is still not up to par. I hope someone can help her share the burden, such as Lao Shisan. Yin Xiang really exists, right? Liao Liao was not very confident. Yes, host, you have found a bug. Increase points. Su Peixing. Duke Su has been waiting outside the palace. What orders does the Emperor have? Go and pass on the message to Prince Yi. Su Peixing was stunned for a moment, as if he had just remembered such a person. The Zhao Yunzi brothers we found before haven't figured out where to put them, so we just asked them to follow Xia Jian first. Yin Xiang has rarely been summoned since his fourth brother ascended the throne. It's like everyone is intentionally or unintentionally neglecting him. But for Yin Xiang, this is not a big deal, he is already a free-spirited person. When the new emperor ascended the throne, he was appointed as Prince Yi and appointed as one of the 4 prime ministers. But it seems that something is not quite right. For example, Yin Xiang always has time to recuperate. Long live, Prince Yi is here. It can be calculated. Liao Liao looked at the person walking towards him. Well, he was very thin. Sword eyebrows and starry eyes, with a solemn and upright aura between the eyebrows, not like a prince or minister, but rather like a hero wandering in the martial arts world. Okay, old 13, old 17 are all pretty good, except for chubby oranges. 13 younger brothers. Liao Liaoxian greeted and stopped Yin Xiang from kneeling and bowing. Emperor Yin Xiang is a bit embarrassed, and the etiquette cannot be abolished. The main difference is that there are different rulers and officials nowadays, and Yin Xiang cannot determine whether the current fourth brother is different from the previous fourth brother. Just you and me, you're still so restrained. Not to mention that Yin Xiang couldn't figure out the emperor, Liao Liao couldn't figure out this 13th lord either. They should have a good relationship, right? Liao Liao asked anxiously. The emperor summoned a humble minister today. Why not call it fourth brother? It's too difficult, isn't it? Liao Liao tried to get close. Host, you're like a big-tailed wolf now. Fourth brother Yin Xiang hesitated and said. Liao Liao heard him call him fourth brother, and only then did he realize that the stagnant atmosphere between the two seemed to relax when they first met. 13th brother, you don't know. Liao Liao asked Yin Xiang to sit down casually and decided to vent his frustrations with him. I can't finish reading the book. There are many things in the court, and old 10 often causes trouble. I can't do without you, brother 13. Yin Xiang, vegetables, Lao Lao. 13 came over in a daze, caught off guard by Liao Liao, took care of a bunch of affairs, and then went back in a daze. Accompanying him was Wen Shichu from Tai Hospital. This is a fact. Brother Chu, if there is nothing wrong, Wen Tai will definitely beat the boiling sheep. Why not let Wen Shichu and Yin Xiang go back and see his Hegenfeng? Spread the word, from now on, Dr. Wen will prioritize Prince Yi in everything. Don't come to the harem if you have nothing to do. The imperial physician doesn't lack you. Liao Liao, who had consciously solved a big problem, now had the mood to start painting again. There are too many skills for Fat Orange to roll over. He's even a beauty expert, who knows? Pang Ju likes to paint landscapes, but Liao Liao's mind suddenly cannot recall the beautiful scenery of famous mountains and rivers. We can only start copying based on Wu Yuanji's Red Cliff painting. This painting was not originally in Liao Liao's hands, it was found by 233. Liao Liao later found landscape painting boring and wanted to find Lang Shining to teach her how to draw portraits. It was purely a momentary rise. Liao Liao, who was in a good mood, waited until he went to the Empress's place for dinner before hearing her roundabout saying that Fuzi had fallen into the well. I said I probably forgot something, it turned out to be Fuzi. What did Consort Hua say? Saying that after casually scolding for a few words, he ran out and made a mistake. What else? Liao Liao asked sincerely, is there nothing else to do today? Since it concerns Consort Hua, you can take the trouble to investigate again. I actually want to ask Xia Dongchun. But fortunately, I didn't hear any other movement either. Yi Xiu is happy because the emperor has been visiting her frequently lately, and he no longer says that Jingren Palace is as cold as an ice cellar. The newly appointed palace concubines can now serve as attendants. Does the emperor still plan to go to Empress Hua's place? Liao Liao played with his bracelets in a state of boredom and decided to follow the plot. Let's flip the brand. Surprisingly, there is a sign of Zhen Huan and Zhen Chang among the fleeting signs. This time, without Wen Shichu providing her with cover, the female protagonist cannot be physically injured. Just Shenguiren. The empress thought that the first attendant in the harem would be Zhen Huan. Seeing Liao Liao flip through the sign of Shenmeizhuang, he felt a bit uncertain. In fact, Liao Liao is also reluctant. 233, this time you can take care of your body. Once more conscious, Shenguiren has already been sent away. This method is good. Liao Liao patted Pengju's belly. It seems to be a bit small. Host, do you want Shenmeizhuang to conceive a child? Does her body care for her to be able to conceive a plump orange seed? Of course. 233 is professional. Think about it, forget it. We need to talk to the queen first. Otherwise, if pregnant, it will only generate income for the empress's abortion business. In the following days, the other two nobles and Xia Chang were present. I spend the rest of my time in the heart-nourishing hall, but I go to see the two princesses during the day. The emperor is now indifferent to everyone in the harem. Yi Xiu looked at the archived records in the Jingshi room. Even the newly appointed concubines cannot capture the emperor's heart. Zhen Huan has never seen an emperor until now. I don't know if I should be happy or not, even if it's suitable to practice for a while. Does the face similar to my sister seem to be ineffective? In recent days, Liao Liao's points can be said to have been soft. In the situation where Liao Liao intentionally ignored Zhenhuan, the eunuch Kong Luhai next to her unexpectedly went to seek refuge with Empress Li. The only one who can handle it is the bold man, Cui Jinsi, in the palace. Tonight, Liao Liao plans to flip through the sign of Unlingrong. Chapter 6. Number Ceiling. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the drama, Unlingrong is a sensitive and insecure person. However, in the Zhenhuan family, she would openly mock her family background and openly say that she has a low rank and is a 9th-grade sesame lord. When I first entered the palace, I was able to get along well with Zhenhuan and Shenmeizhuang. 233. Do you think that different life experiences will make this person completely unrecognizable? Liao Liao's writing never stops. Taking advantage of the fact that the attendant hasn't arrived yet and doesn't want to stay on the bed, he picked up his pen and painted. I painted the Huafei, the Empress, and the pure Yuan in my memory. No matter how you look at it, you may not be satisfied. Su Peixing thought that the emperor was upset by the thought of Empress Chenyuan, but in fact, Liao Liao despised the slow progress bar. When Unlingrong was sent over, she was trembling as if Liao Liao was about to eat her. The palm-sized innocent little face was full of anxiety. Trembling uncontrollably, it seems that she is really scared. What's wrong? Liao Liao sat by the bed. Seeing Enling trembling like a sieve. 233, the chubby orange is so ugly that it scares the little girl. How could it be, host? The current chubby orange is no longer the same as before, he has already begun to align with his handsome appearance. My concubine. My concubine, Unlingrong shyly and timidly looked up at the emperor. Seeing that his eyes were full of smiles, he unconsciously relaxed. Let's settle it, Liao Liao touched Unlingrong's small face with his fingertips. 233, body care, and give her a beautiful dream. The imperial edict came down the next day. Jinan promised to be a regular 6th grade and was awarded the title Jin. There are so many new attendants, even the emperor doesn't take it seriously. The sudden appearance of Jin Chang inevitably caused the attention of the 6 palaces. Liao Liao was having lunch in the Huafei Palace and heard Huafei's sour words. The dishes in this small kitchen are soaked in vinegar jars. Your Majesty, I'm not too concerned about the emperor's reasons, said Empress Hua with a look of anger. She's always here, even if there's a ban, it's not worth it for you to vent your anger on her. Do you like the newly planted green chrysanthemums in the flower house? Nowadays, there are not many chrysanthemums in the storage hall, so people naturally have to move these unique chrysanthemums here. Empress Hua enjoys playing. And Liao Liao often came to visit Consort Hua, which also exempted Consort Hua from causing trouble for lower-ranking concubines. Today, both Unlingrong and Shenmeizhuang gathered in the broken jade pavilion of Zhenhuan. Although Zhenhuan did not report illness, she lived a long time without favor, and most of the servants who followed the trend of flattery left. Winter is already unbearable, and now Zhenhuan is really caught in the cold wind. People who are bedridden should not speak much. Unlingrong and Shenmeizhuang left a few strands of silver charcoal and winter clothing materials before bidding farewell. What is the young master showing off about? Huanbai looked dissatisfied. She's not very beautiful either. Huanbai, what are you talking nonsense about? How do I usually teach you? Walls have ears. Zhenhuan agreed with Huanbai in her heart. She didn't want to attract the emperor's attention, she felt that with her talent, she definitely shouldn't be in the current situation. However, the emperor usually stays in the heart-nourishing hall, and even when traveling, the honor guard team follows, so he has no chance at all. Also, Ling Rong is now with Jin Chang. You are not allowed to disrespect her. It's not that you're not up to it. Huanbai was used to it all at home. Although she was completely focused on speaking for Zhenhuan, she was educated and felt greatly wronged. She ran out crying. Yin Xiang has been frequently visiting the heart-nourishing hall recently, carrying a lot of burden. 13 younger brothers, can you still get busy? Yin Xiang is in charge of the current National Treasury, Construction Office, and military operations in the Northwest. The Northwest War is currently tight, and if there are any difficulties, Old 13 is really good. There is no better brother than him. I am fortunate enough to be appreciated by the Emperor, so I will do my best. 13 younger brothers, there's no need to say such polite words to me. It's almost the end of the year, and Dr. Wen has been with you for a long time. What progress has been made? In this drama, Dr. Wen's medical skills are superb and he can still treat epidemics. Why is it useless to follow Dr. 13? Lord Wen has already made a prescription, which is indeed better than before. In fact, as long as there is the Emperor's intention, Yin Xiang is already very satisfied, let alone now receiving the Emperor's important position. Alright, you don't have to hide those confused things, they just don't work. Liao Liao's words made it clear that Wen Shichu might not be able to make a name for himself at Tai Hospital. I have recently received a new medicine, which came from the West. I have already had someone see your pulse history, why not give it a try? It is actually produced by 233, but the form of 233's medicine has always been strange, so I'm afraid Yin Xiang won't be able to accept it. Let Su Peixing present the things. The purple and black medicinal pills emit a strange odor, and at first glance, they are not a good thing. Can you have some normal pills, even capsules? Liao Liao can't help complaining about it. 233, this color is quite novel, Yin Xiang said, twisting a grain into his mouth. Let's eat it. Old 13 was so bold, and Liao Liao compared Yin Xiang with a big thumbs in his heart. Can the Emperor still harm me? 2 pills a day, used for half a month, and during that time, let that Wen Shichu follow, so I can feel at ease. Yin Xiang is really a little angel. Liao Liao looked at him with a smile on his face. He is still a useful brick, he needs to move wherever he needs. 233 expresses sympathy. Isn't this a shortage of talent? Yin Xiang looked at the imperial brother sitting on the throne and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. The 4th brother now still has the same face as before, but his temperament is vastly different. It's no longer like the cold-faced guy back then, but rather gentle and refined. Yin Xiang thought of someone he shouldn't have thought of. I won't keep you anymore. I'm going to see your sister. In.Law. Liao Liao handed over the medicine, and a stone in his heart had already fallen. Decided to go to Jingren Palace to receive the Queen's feeding. Chapter 7. Clarification. You are listening at Novel Full.Audio. The Emperor is here. Yi Xiu has become accustomed to Liao Liao occasionally coming to see her, even if she doesn't stay overnight. It's freezing outside, what are you doing outside? Liao Liao felt so cold that he wanted to shrink his neck, afraid it would damage his dignity. You have the burden of an emperor. Host Yi Xiu held Liao Liao's hand and said, I am worried about the emperor. Entering the room, Liao Liao held back the others. Yi Xiu thought there was something important, but the result was that Liao Liao wanted to give Yi Xiu a portrait. Host, you're causing this to die again. It has become Liao Liao's habit to show off new skills to the queen. You just sit down, be natural, don't care about me. Yi Xiu felt sweet in his heart, as if he had returned to the day when he first entered the royal palace. Liao Liao wanted to persuade the abortion team to leave, but there were no suitable opportunities. The court with chubby oranges has fewer talents, and the harem has fewer children. The thought of passing the throne to the scumbag dragon in the future made Liao Liao's face turn green. Liao Liao was worried, and at that moment, she empathized with Pengju. Yi Xiu, Liao Liao focused on painting without lifting his head, as if he had casually said, I know everything you've done, I don't blame you. Would you be willing to stop here for me? Your Majesty, my concubine is dull. I don't know what the Emperor is talking about. Yi Xiu's body tightened, but his face remained natural. Liao Liao put down his pen and dried the ink. The matter of Chunyuan, the matter of Fenggui people, and the small property before Xingue people. Yi Xiu grabbed the corner of the table and tried his best not to lose his composure. Now she has ascended to the throne of the queen. Although the emperor dotes on consort Hua, the newly appointed concubines are young and tender, with outstanding appearances but not outstanding. The recent changes in the emperor have made Yi Xiu feel that he has her in his heart, and she is not inferior to his sister. Since the emperor has already found out, why bother asking my concubine? Yi Xiu dared not go to see Liao Liao, for he was delusional. Liao Liao saw her staring blankly ahead and knew that Yi Xiu was brainstorming something. Yi Xiu, I have said that I did not intend to blame you for these things. But now, as the empress of the central palace, you should pacify the harem instead of harming the concubines and offspring. So, today, the emperor is coming to avenge his sister. Yi Xiu spoke coldly and had already accepted his fate. Yi Xiu is not as ruthless as in the later period, and he treats the emperor with great longing. She didn't understand why the emperor had to say these things. Was it as bad as before? I don't ask the emperor to dote on me like I dote on my sister, just to be satisfied like before. She didn't want the emperor to see her malicious side. Is Chun Yuan a big killer? Pang Ju turns into a love brain when she meets her, and Yi Xiu turns into an indestructible knot when she meets her. Liao Liao is unable to roast, and despises Pang Ju even more. Yi Xiu, I mean, if you're wrong, I'm also wrong. Liao Liao sat next to her and lowered his voice. What do you say, Your Majesty? How could Your Majesty be wrong? Yi Xiu smiled bitterly. You should blame me. It was I who insisted on marrying Chun Yuan, and it was I who insisted on making her Fujin. Damn chubby orange. What a mess I need to personally clean up. Does the emperor think that I don't want to? Does the emperor think that a woman who truly loves her husband would be willing to share it with other women? I hate the emperor so much, but I can't do it. I hate myself for not being able to do it. As for the offspring, I have no children. Why should my sister have children? She took my position as Fujin, and her son will come to take my son's position as crown prince. Don't they deserve to die? Watching Yi Xiu hysterically on the brink of collapse, Liao Liao could only hold her in his arms and softly coax, I know, I don't blame you. After a while, Yi Xiu finally calmed down and returned to the graceful and luxurious appearance of a queen. The emperor wants to know how to deal with my concubine. When will I deal with you? You are my empress, have you been venting for so long and are you still digging into the corner? Emperor, you come. Yi Xiu suddenly realized that there was still room for negotiation between himself and the emperor. It's Honghu. I want to posthumously confer the title of Prince Duan on Honghu after New Year's Eve. Chapter 8. Yimei. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 9. Marriage. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yu Yinger is just a palace maid who takes care of flowers and plants. She is a bit cautious but not very cunning. Caught by Xiaoxiatzi, she was already panicked. Your Majesty, please spare your life. I was ordered to pick flowers and worship the flower god today. Before anyone could ask, she spoke out like pouring beans. Yu Yinger is not worth mentioning. Liao Liao cast a glance at Su Peixing. Su Peixing understood and said, I will be fined 3 months' salary, but it will be delayed. It must be Duke Su. Liao Liao was satisfied. And you? Liao Liao saw that Zhenhuan's lantern had been extinguished, but the person stood steadily without any disorder. The female protagonist always has some quick wit on her, which always helps her turn danger into safety. My concubine is often in the Zhen family. A light and agile voice came through and grabbed Liao Liao's ear. The female protagonist has something. Liao Liao looked at the nearby king of Guojun with a smile on his face. Is it the one who is often sick? If you don't take good care of yourself in your own palace, what are you doing here? My concubine, I just want to pray for blessings in the garden on New Year's Eve, and I don't want to collide with the emperor and the two princes. As a prayer, did you just recite a poem by Cui Daorong? Yes, my concubine likes the resilient and independent character of Plum Blossoms. Go back, Su Peixing, send someone to see off Xin Chang. Liao Liao was bored. Just now, Zhen Huan also gained attention in front of the three of them, but Liao Liao didn't feel much of it himself. I just don't know what Yunli thinks. 13th brother, what do you think of Zhen Shi? How dare my younger brother evaluate the imperial brother's concubines? Besides, Zhen Chang has been bowing his head all the time. My younger brother hasn't seen it clearly. 13 looked at Liao Liao, who didn't seem to be interested in just now. Where's 17 brother? This is where Liao Liao is curious. My younger brother thinks that the young lady who was just here should have read some books, with a clear and beautiful voice. Blessed is the emperor. Yunli has just been following Liao Liao all along, but he hasn't found a statue or seen Zhen Huan's face. I only have some impression of Zhen Huan based on her voice. Just now, he didn't dare to look around. He always felt that the emperor paid more attention to him than that Zhen Chang. Yunli is actually seeking truth from facts. Do you like such a woman? Liao Liao was really curious. I dare not. Yunli wanted to kneel down and apologize, and Liao's words seemed like he was watching over the palace concubines. Yunli is usually cautious, just afraid that his imperial brother will suspect him. Today, a Zhen Chang made him commit a major taboo, and he immediately became angry with this Zhen Chang. What are you so anxious about? I just want to ask. Liao Liao quickly stopped him. In the palace, Liao Liao is not afraid of any disturbance caused by Zhen Huan. If she dares to have an affair, she will let the entire Zhen family be buried together. It's so cold, let's go back to the heart-nourishing hall. Liao Liao asked Su Peixing to report to the empress and went back with his two younger brothers. Yunli, I just asked like this, why are you panicking? Liao Liao laughed. It's the usual fat orange, too suspicious. 233 roast. What fourth brother just meant was probably that he was worried about your life. 13 comforted Yunli. Brother. Yunli couldn't figure it out for a moment, so he had to seek help from old 13. Look at what your 13th brother is doing. Your 13th brother is right. Yunli, you're also big. He needs to get married to avoid running around and flirting with little girls every day. How can such a small matter bother the emperor? Is it really for this matter? Now there are only 3 of us brothers in the room, and old 17 is still embarrassed. Seeing Liao Liao's serious expression, Yunli put aside his other thoughts. I only say that I want to find a like-minded woman, but I envy Mandarin ducks and not immortals. No way. Liao Liao disagreed and immediately spoke out. Yunli got married and still wants to stop working. I'm so short of people here, and he wants to be lazy. Brother Huan. Yunli had no choice but to turn to his 13th brother for help. Yunli, it's normal for you to want to find someone with similar intentions, but when do you want to find someone, you know what it means to have similar intentions. Most of your good years have been wasted on this elusive matter. What does the emperor mean? Yunli knew that the emperor wanted to make a decision for himself and end his life. If the emperor insisted on going his own way, he couldn't resist. Miss Meng from the Guogong mansion, I have been longing for you for a long time, but don't let the old minister's heart be cold. Liao Liao firmly confirmed that it was not up to them to decide the marriage of the royal children themselves. Fourth brother, how is Miss Meng? 13 saw Yunli's forced smile and decided to cooperate with Liao Liao. Of course, she is much better off reading poetry than Zhen Chang, who recited the wrong poem. Moreover, she admires our 17 young masters' thoughts, and even I know them. Liao Liao smiled and patted the bow. Don't let down such a devoted person, 17 young brother. After discussing the time for a stick of incense, 13 and Yimei were about to stand up and bid farewell, and Liao Liao did not leave them behind. On the way back to the palace, Yimei couldn't help but ask, 13 brothers, is the emperor really doing it for my marriage? You're still afraid that the emperor won't harm you, he's just worried about you. Only 13 of you dare to say that. I think the emperor's intention is to make you settle down and then devote yourself to court affairs. I have nothing. Yunli thought of all the things he had done before to protect himself. 17 younger brother, I understand what you're worried about. I was also worried before. But don't you think fourth brother has changed a lot? 13 brothers, I believe you. As the prince, Yunli's ability is not bad. Apart from Yin Yang, he has nothing to lose. Thinking of Liao Liao's gentle demeanor today, he closed his eyes and pondered for a moment, and his mind had already made a decision. Chapter 10. Daily Life. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After Zhenhuan returned, she fell ill again. Cui Jinxi asked before realizing that her mistress had collided with the emperor. Just seeing the emperor without blaming, I still hold a glimmer of luck in my heart. This disease is dragging on, without favor, life is really difficult. Zhenhuan's heart was tormented, and Huanbai's heart twisted as she watched Shen Guiren and Jin Chang, who occasionally came to visit Zhenhuan. Everyone can do it, why can't I Huanbi? Since the eldest sister doesn't have the ability herself, the glory of the family depends on me, Huanbi. In such a year, everything that Liao Liao had previously instructed was proceeding in an orderly manner. For example, posthumous titles, such as the marriage of the 17th. By the way, Liao Liao also bestowed a side blessing to Yunli on Guerjia Wenyuan, who had previously not run for election due to illness. Liao Liao was very satisfied with his arrangements. So Liao Liao began to linger in the harem again, becoming a tool man. Host, did you forget to call the female lead to sleep? Liao Liao continued to ignore the female lead. The Ministry of Internal Affairs has carried out a rectification campaign in Yinxiang, and has seized many stolen funds. Half of it was replenished into the national treasury, while the other half was used as expenses for the harem. In February, the weather becomes colder, and there is a subsidy from Niangengyao in the Huafei Palace. Other palaces cannot reduce expenses. Today, as usual, find Yin Xiang to chat with. Host, you can't do this. With so many things to do with Prince Yi and having to be your companion for chatting, it's even worse than being a laborer. The electronic tone of 233 is low at 13. Fourth brother's chess skills have declined. Liao Liao was originally a stinky chess basket. I didn't know anything about it before, and I'm sorry to find a master to fight against. I had to set up my own chess manual and play with myself. I went to Empress Qi's place again, which made her extremely happy. I thought it was Liao Liao who allowed her to win. The damn progress bar is too slow, you won't let your fourth brother go. Liao Liao secretly hates that the system is not awesome. Fourth brother, I have no regrets when I leave, that's what you said. 13 knew that Liao Liao would not blame me. Let's get to the point. Liao Liao saw that he couldn't handle Yin Xiang anymore, so he changed the topic. Do you still remember Dai Zi? Yin Xiang pondered for a moment and said, it's the one who was sent by the Holy Ancestor. It's him, I've already sent my confidant to pick him up and bring him back to Beijing. We need to hurry up, otherwise Dai Zi will be in trouble. Does the emperor want to reorganize the firearms camp? A rare talent, it's a pity not to use it. Liao Liao lightly tapped the table with his fingers. You think the thing that foreigners paid tribute to before, it took him a few days to replicate it, and others no longer have his talent like this. Does the fourth brother want me to take over? Said the worker Yin Xiang, one at a time. You can assign some tasks to Yunli and let him get started. Actually, I didn't think of what to ask him to do. It seems that he's not very good at marching and giving gifts during battles. We can't let him continue to idle. Why not let him help Inxiang with the collection business? Roll them all up for me, don't be idle. Why didn't fourth brother tell Yimei himself? I can't see him, he's currently cultivating feelings with Miss Guogong. After leaning against Meiyuan, Yimei got closer to old 13. Liao Liao is willing to see Yunli become a follower of 13, as long as he is loyal. Having caught old 13 and old 17, Liao Liao once again turned his mind to Yun Yan. It seems that we need to make time to go to Shokang Palace. However, before Liao Liao could carry out the implementation, Su Peixing came to report that the wealthy Cha Guiren and Jin Chang were happy. Liao Liao Zhao didn't have many days to serve as a bedmaid, and he preferred to chat with his concubine during the day, focusing on a balance between rain and dew. Rich Cha Guiren is prone to pregnancy, but Liao Liao suspects that Lingrong is fortunate. They were all in the same palace, and Liao Liao visited together. By the way, go to the Yishio Palace and give a few instructions. Congratulations to the Emperor. Liao Liao didn't expect Yishio to offer sincere blessings, as long as he didn't have an abortion. Yishio, I originally wanted to bring back the fourth elder brother and write it down under your name. Liao Liao did not hesitate to say whether the fourth elder brother was from a palace maid. But after much thought, it's better for us to have our own child. Yishio widened her eyes. She's already in her 40s, can she still have her own children? Your Majesty, please don't coax me. Let the imperial physician take good care of your body. Leave the rest to 233 for resolution. Even if it's his daughter, after all, Liao Liao is still not at ease and needs to find something to do for Yishio. 2 more pregnant women suddenly appeared in the palace, and many pairs of eyes were fixed on the Yanxi Palace. There is still a restless Xia Chang in the Yanxi Palace. Liao Liao only summoned Xing to spend the summer once, and as usual, he only rewarded some gold, silver, and jewelry. The Yanxi Palace, where one is a noble woman and the other is a person with a title, can temporarily suppress her presence. Let's send the imperial physician to take care of it. Host, you can send Wen Shichu. After old 13 recovered from his illness, Wen Shichu could only do some trivial things at Tai Hospital. After all, I have been scolded by the emperor. In that case, Liao Liao dispatched Wen Shichu and another gynecologist to jointly protect the 2 young masters of the Yanxi Palace from pregnancy. Still the same will, Wen Shichu will watch over the entire process, and if anything unexpected happens, he will be the only one asking. Other imperial physicians couldn't figure out whether the emperor was looking to revisit the true beginning. But Zhen Huan finally waited for the day when Wen Shichu could enter and exit the palace. She can't wait anymore. This time she wants to make her illness recover quickly.